mercenaries, really, that's the double M. Born baller, baby boy, I be above the rim.
What's good, family? It's your boy Just Blaze, host of the best NBA pod in the game, Above the Rim. Keep it locked each week and join myself and a special guest as we tackle the latest rumblings in the league. If it's happening in the NBA, you know I got you covered. Make sure you subscribe on all platforms and leave that 5-star review. Let's get it.
Something ain't right. Something ain't right. And damn it, it's time that we find out.
It actually felt like we finally had our black superhero and nobody can touch us. You know, so, and to lose that, it's sad in our community. It's sad in our community. And to lose the Black Panther and the Black Mamba in the same year, we can all agree that 2020 is the shittiest year.
Talk about it!
You are now tuned in to Above the Rim.
Family, welcome to another edition of Above the Rim, the latest edition, episode 130. It's your boy, Justin, aka Just Blaze. Family, you know the drill. To get in contact with me, you can always hit me up. Follow me on Twitter at JustBlaze_513. On IG, it's at JustBlaze513. On Facebook, search Above the Rim Podcast. Email the show as well. Above the Rim NBA Podcast at gmail.com. Leave your boy a voicemail as well. You already know, 908-718-1592, family. And I have a few voicemails this episode as well. So we're definitely going to get into that later on in the episode. As you can see, this is a solo episode. Just me. Had to get a few things across. There's a lot of things going on in the world right now. Playoff action. There's a lot more important things going on in the world. So before we get into some NBA action, I actually do want to touch on that a little bit. And I wanted to make sure I take some time out to applaud my brothers in the NBA and my sisters also in the WNBA for acting in solidarity, man, and boycotting these games for Jacob Blake. I salute the Bucks as well, in particular, for starting a wave. And it was right for them to do so because if we're being honest here, not enough news attention was being brought to the injustice happening in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Got to keep it a buck. I mean, if they didn't boycott these games, these owners would not be as willing as they are now to help. They needed to use this leverage. They needed to use this leverage to force the owners to use some of their relationships with these politicians, with these lawmakers, to invoke some change on a legislative level. These owners have the capital to do so. And if they want these players to play for them, make millions of dollars off of these players, they need to be on the front line of the battle for social injustice as well. They need to be on that front line as well and using their resources to also help us and anyone else on that front line. And as we know, the Bucks did boycott their games against the Magic last week, and then every other NBA team followed suit after that. And with some of these boycotts, they had a call with the owners. We know Michael Jordan was the main liaison between the owners and the players, giving feedback of the demands of what the Players Association want. And I feel like they had some solid meetings. I mean, all the reports that came out were pretty positive for the most part, and that they're on the right track to invoking change. So some of these things I saw that was agreed upon in the outcome of the boycotts were immediately they established a social justice coalition featuring reps from players, coaches, and governors. I know they also converted team arenas into voting locations for the 2020 general election. I know they also created ad spots in playoff games that promote civic engagement. So that's three of the things that we know so far that has come out of the meetings, I should say. Now, that is a nice start, but I think it's clear that there needs to be more. I think it's clear for everyone that needs to be more. And if there is probably one suggestion that I could give, it would be for the NBA to start organizing free education camps or clinics related to history, human rights and humanity, like for the youth. I think educating our youth is the most important aspect to creating change, in my opinion. I think creating a positive and valuable impression on the youth, on the youthful mind, it can go a very, very, very long way. And we know that. And then I think now with that, you can have some more education reform. And I think it will ultimately lead to a more guided selection of leaders, in voting as well, awareness in the community. And most importantly, I think it'll teach the youth that everyone is equal, no matter where you come from, color you are, creed, whichever the case may be, that everyone is equal. So I think education is the key, man. And I think you got to learn your history as well. So I just want to applaud the NBA and also the WNBA for keeping that awareness alive, because progress needs to be made. And enough is enough, man. And last but not least, rest in power, man. So our superhero, the great Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman, a.k.a. the Wakanda King. Rest in peace, man. I mean, that was some devastating news that we got over this weekend. I think it took all of us by surprise, and we're all hurt and affected by us, because he is literally one of our superheroes, especially for our community. So it's crazy, man. You gotta give these people the flowers while they can still smell them, man. So yeah. After that, let's get into some playoff action, man, because I got a few voicemails this episode, so you're going to hear from a few members of the family while we discuss some of these series, because there is still playoff action that still has to go on, even though we know the intensity right now in these first couple of games, it hasn't really been the same, in my opinion, because I do feel like a little bit of juice has been lost, because there's a lot going on in the world and more important things going on in the world. I mean, a lot of things are bigger than basketball. This is a sport. This is entertainment at the end of the day. But life is more important. So naturally, it'll take a little step back in terms of intensity. But I think it will ramp up a little bit. So let's see. But yeah, so let's talk about this playoff action right here. First up, we got a voicemail from my man CL from the Brothers Lehman Sports Happy Hour. My man Chris Lehman. So let's hear it from my guy.
What up, Jeff? This your man CL, one half of the Brothers Lehman. Hey, I've been meaning to ask you. I want to get this in before the playoffs really started. But I gotta ask, man. So I know you've been a big CP3 fan. You was a Clipper fan. You know, you was pulling for the Rockets. You became a Rocket fan. You haven't really got on the OKC train. I know you pulling for them. You watch them. You pulling because it's Chris Paul, but you haven't really been on the train. And, you know, shout out to you with Miami. You did think Miami, you said early on that you thought Miami was going to make some noise, and they have. So good for you. And I know you wanted Chris Paul on Miami. So going into these playoffs, do you have a team that you pulling for? You know, like, this is my team you riding. I just want to make sure, you know, because you did pick Miami, but I don't want you to start feeling like you're a Miami fan. And I know you're not a big OKC guy because you don't know what's going to happen. But, you know, if they go far, I know you're going to be talking. So I just want to know where you stand, man. Where are you at in that? You claiming OKC? You claiming Miami? Or you or not? Like, now I'm not this year. Those are the teams I'm rooting for, but I'm not the fan of that team. I'm not claiming them. Just asking.
Yo, shout out to CL, man, for leaving that voicemail. Yo, CL, I feel like you coming at my neck right now, my brother. I feel like you coming at my neck right now. Come on, CL. But listen, I'm sure there are a lot of people right now who want to know if I'm an OKC fan, Oklahoma City Thunder fan, and I'm not. Come on, let's be real now. I've never claimed them. I just root for them. I already said early in the season, I mean, a couple of people that I talk to on a normal daily basis, they already know I've officially given up my fandom for the 2020 season, man. In the beginning of the year, after my man got traded away from Houston, because I was hurt. But so I'm just rooting for some teams that I want to see do well, man. Obviously, you know, OKC is going to be one of them. You know, I'm a Chris Paul guy. You know that already. And the Miami Heat, man, I've always liked them. I've always been a fan of their organization. And actually early in the year, I'm on record on a few shows. Shout out to Damian Adams. I think I'm on his show. Rory, I think as well. And also Akeem, I think as well. When I was saying that he was going to make noise. I knew once Jimmy Butler went there, I had a feeling about the makeup of their roster. I really liked it. I knew Bam was going to be good. I didn't know he was going to be as good as he is right now. He's phenomenal this year. But I really have been on the Heat train since earlier in the year. And then also, remember, that was the team that I wanted Chris Paul to get traded to when he got traded to OKC. So I thought they were a solid team and a really good I felt like they were a team that were missing an elite point guard, and I still think that. I think Chris Paul will be phenomenal on that team. So, that being said, I'm rooting for a couple of teams, but I'm a fan of no one, man. I just want to see my boys do well. But cut me some slack, CL. Damn, cut me some slack, brother. By the way, you and JL, I got to get y'all on the episode, so I'm gonna be hitting y'all up, fellas. So let's talk about the series right now. Right, you brought up CP3, Oklahoma City Thunder, Houston Rockets. My favorite series of the first round. Everybody knows that's the series that I'm tuned in, that I'm chimed in. I'm up here waking the neighbors up in my building because I'm screaming loud at the game. I'm yelling at the TV because they're pissing me off a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. This series has given me a headache, I should say, in this past week. This series has given me a real headache, man. I tell you that right now. And it's crazy, but I can't believe I'm saying this right now, man. But Coach Mike D'Antoni, Coach Pringles, he's actually being outcoached. And it's a little disrespectful right now that he's being outcoached. It's crazy. The man who makes zero adjustments, I've called this man, Mike D'Antoni, who makes zero adjustments in the playoff series. He's actually met someone who's made even less adjustments in this playoff series, which is crazy to me. The stubbornness between these two coaches are ridiculous in this series. Mike D'Antoni, and on the other side, Billy Donovan of the Oklahoma City Thunder. So if you listen to my last episode, you'll know little respect. You'll know that I said the X factor for this series for the Rockets and Thunder, on the Rockets side especially, would be Jeff Green. And two things I said it would be Jeff Green, and also on the Oklahoma City side, how Billy D uses his two bigs in the lineup and how he needs to stagger them both because of how the Rockets play. And I was spot on, and I knew it. And that's exactly what's playing out right now and what's frustrating me the most in this series. Is they're up, the Rockets are up 3-2 right now. They just got, Oklahoma City Thunder got spanked the last game, and it kind of pissed me off. They really didn't come to play. So I talked about staggering the two bigs. Steven Adams, Danilo Gallinari is what I was talking about in particular. So for the Rockets, the X factor I said was Jeff Green. Before the pandemic, before we came to the bubble, this man was averaging 8 points per game and 2 rebounds. Somehow, some way, the Oklahoma City Thunder bigs, Steven Adams, Nerlens Noel with his dread bun, are making Jeff Green look like Kevin Garnett on the floor right now. I'm telling you, it's really out of control. Jeff Green is hitting all of his shots. He went from averaging 8 points to 15 and 7, playing over 35 minutes a game, and he's really killing the Oklahoma City bigs. Every time they run that pick and roll, they know they want Dort, I'm going to talk about Dort a little bit because that's my man right there, but he's been going under the screen, making sure to contest every James Harden jump shot, and they're doubling off that screen and then leaving Jeff Green open to hit that three. I know they're daring him, they're challenging him too, but when Steven Adams gets back into the defender, he has trouble with his slow feet of getting back and closing out on the three-point line. So then it's easy. Those are routine workout scrimmage shots Jeff Green is sitting on the floor. And to me, it mind boggles me how Billy Donovan doesn't adjust. Leaves Gallo and Adams on the floor for a ridiculous amount of minutes, too many minutes in my opinion, and that essentially slows down the Oklahoma City Thunder. I know they play well with that lineup, but for this particular matchup, I think you got to lessen Steven Adams' minutes. So that's a problem to me. I think, and I said this earlier on Twitter, that I feel like since there's no home court advantage, coaching adjustments are now the new home court advantage in the NBA. That's how I look at it. Coaching adjustments to me are the new home court advantage in the NBA bubble, in these playoffs. I think coaches are so much more essential right now. And I think their strategy is a lot more essential in these playoffs because it really can decide a series. I'm not kidding. It really can. So with that being said, on the X factor for the Oklahoma City Thunder, I felt like was Danilo Gallinari. He averages 19 in the regular season, but to me, I feel like if he can somehow turn himself into a small ball five, he can guard a PJ Tucker. He can guard a Jeff Green. And then you can keep Dort at the 4. You need to give Roberson some minutes at the 4. You can put Baisley there at the 4 is also and something that you can do. But to me, Billy Donovan is too stubborn. Steven Adams has been his guy all year, and he's sticking with him. So he's going to live and die with Steven Adams right there because, I mean, it's going to be crazy. And I think Baisley deserves more minutes in this series. And let's talk about Lou Dort for a minute. Love me some Luens Dort. I love on the back of his jersey. It's respect new, whatever on the back of his jersey. The undrafted rookie. But I'm telling you, the Rockets got a solid game plan, man. I got to give D'Antoni credit, which is ridiculous that I'm saying that. But they're trying to expose that young man. I need you to get confident, though, Lou Dort. I need you to get confident. I need you to take it to the rack. Last game, game 5, he missed 9 threes. My man's been 0 for 9 from 3. Stop shooting it, brother. Take some of those to the rack. I know it's killing your confidence right now, but you got to get through that. And that exactly plays into the Rockets' hands. When Dort is shooting all of those consecutive threes, the more threes he shoots and misses, the more his confidence goes down. And now it plays right into the Rockets' hands, because without having to worry about Dort, you're essentially playing 4-on-5. And if you have Steven Adams and Dort in there, you're essentially playing 3-on-5 on offense, because we know Steven Adams clogs the paint. He's another non-shooter. So you have 2 non-shooters on the floor. Plays right into the Rockets' hands. All they have to do is pack the paint defensively, and it takes away most of the Thunder offense right there. Gallinari and Shea, they're not playing up to their abilities. SGA, man, he's a young stud. I really like SGA. He's a young stud. This is not his first playoffs. This is his second playoffs. But this is his first playoffs really in a prominent offensive role. And he's been hot and cold in this series, man, and he's young. He's young. At times, he looks fearless in a few games. And there are certain times where I see the Rockets vets, they're getting into his head a little bit, man. I see PJ Tucker getting into his head. I see Eric Gordon getting into his head a little bit. Robert Covington a little bit. And he looks a little shook. He's averaging 17 in this series, but it's a quiet 17. He really had 1 or 2 games where he really played well. But I just need him to step it up a little bit, and I can't really fault him because he's a young player. So it's not really all on him, but this is a good learning series for him. But I still feel like he could play better. Because I've seen him do it all year, and he's a phenomenal offensive player. So, and I don't really think a lot of people on the Rockets can actually guard him. So I think he just needs to tap in and get out of his head a little bit, and I think he'll be good. I mean, I still got OKC winning this series. Obviously, it can't be 6 now. I still think they can win in the 7, man. The series ain't over. But they're a young team, man. CP3, let's talk about him. What he's giving you in this series, he's giving you 20, 6-5, I believe, or 6-4, something like that. And I'm going to be hard on CP3, man, because that's my guy. Everybody knows that. And he's played well in stretches. He had a second half in game 4, I believe, where he played phenomenal, and he had 22 or 24 in the second half. I believe that was game 4. And they played excellent, and they got that win. But he hasn't been aggressive enough. And that's my issue with CP3. With this Oklahoma City Thunder being a young team, with Gallo not having that aggressive personality, with Schroeder playing well, but he's a little hot and cold, but he's not really an aggressive guy. Shea is not really an aggressive guy. There isn't too many aggressive dudes on this Oklahoma City roster. So Chris Paul has to be that guy. So they're going to take on the personality of him. The team is very impressionable. So I need him to give me a little bit more. He hasn't been aggressive enough for my taste. Maybe he has too much on his plate right now with the Players Association and all that shit, but I need him to do more to win this series. I need him to be more aggressive on offense from the beginning of the game and set that tone. So I need more. If he doesn't give me any more, then the Rockets are going to be going in game 6. Thunder's going to be going in game 6, and it's a wrap. And I'm going to be real disappointed because I really feel like either team can win this series. Harden, he's been playing excellent in this series. I got to give him some credit. He's been pretty calm throughout this series, and I really like it. He's been taking some solid shots, and he's been taking his normal wild step backs, which is fine too as well. But he's actually been hitting that, but only on certain defenders. I feel like, and that everybody has seen throughout the series. To me, but the key has been his intelligence. He's been playing intelligent basketball in this series, so I got to give him some credit. Intelligent basketball. He's been attacking the rim and attacking in general on offense, depending on who's guarding him. So he is actually very aware. We should know that he's a superstar player, one of the best offensive players in the league. He knows that when Harden got the matchups besides Dort, he takes advantage and he's aggressive. Listen, Billy D, you can't put Schroeder on James Harden. James Harden is a 6'5", big body. He's been averaging over 30 for 3 years in a row. This man is an elite offensive weapon. The only reason Dort is doing a good job on him is because he's the same body type. If you look at Dort's body type and you look at James Harden's body type, they are essentially very similar. Dort is a few inches shorter, I believe. I think he's about 2 inches shorter. But he can absorb a lot of those blows that James Harden gives on the offensive end. So Dort is our only defender, is the Thunder's only defender on James Harden. But also, you got to give him a break. You got to try out somebody else. Try out Roberson. Try him out. Maybe he could play some defense on him. You never know. Not even give him a chance. Give Abdul Nader some minutes. Why are you not giving him any minutes at the 3, at the 4? Another body who can shoot, who can actually play solid defense. Billy D, man, get it together, bro. Get it together. This is a very winnable series, and you're not doing everything that you can do to the best of your coaching abilities to win this series. So I'm very, very, very disappointed in Billy Donovan. But I'm not backing off what I said, man. And obviously, it can't be OKC in 6 because they lost one. But it's OKC in 7, bro. Let's do it. OKC in 7. CP3, he gonna get it done. I hope so.
Talk about it.
Get it done, man. So let's get into the other series. One of my other series that I'm really watching very closely. It's gonna be in the second round now. The series we all been waiting for, man, in the Eastern Conference, the Heat and the Milwaukee Bucks. And despite everything that Milwaukee did in the pre-shutdown portion of the season, Bucks still have to prove themselves, man, especially in these playoffs. After they collapsed in the Eastern Conference Finals last season, Raptors came and beat them. They got to prove themselves. I said last series when the Bucks played against the Magic, they beat them 4-1, a gentleman's sweep. We know that was light. I said that Giannis, he needs to figure out how to elevate his teammates because he's going to need them. But when he can't take over this series against the Heat, because he's not going to be able to individually take over this series, an entire series, game after game. He's going to have a few games where he's going to go off because it is Giannis and he's one of the top 5 players in the league. So he's going to go off. But take over the entire series, he can't. Not in this series. Along with, and if you look at, I'm telling you right now, so if you look at, along with the Denver Nuggets, Miami was just one of two teams that beat Milwaukee twice before the shutdown. And the Bucks supporting staff, listen to their supporting staff, right, for the Bucks. What they did in this series against who they play against? Let me forget. The Orlando Magic, excuse me. Look at the numbers right here that they put up against the Orlando Magic. An 8 seed. Giannis had 30. We know that he's going to kill. Chris Middleton, look at the drop-off. 15 points per game on 36% shooting. Giannis, 30. Chris Middleton, 15 on 36% shooting. Then you got Brook Lopez, 13 points per game. Then you got Eric regular-ass Bledsoe, 11 points per game. Now, that was against the Orlando Magic, an 8 seed. This is the Miami Heat they've been playing right now. This is a heavyweight collision worthy of a conference finals style matchup. But if you look at the strengths of the Bucks and you look at the strengths of the Heat, they're very similar in 2 ways. They both play exceptional defense. They both shoot the 3 ball exceptionally well. But their defense is different in a way that I think which will be the most important factor in the series. The Heat have a plethora of individual and versatile defenders, while the Bucks play exceptional team defense in my mind. Now, the difference between that is that the Bucks can be broken down off the dribble individually. The Heat, the Miami Heat, I said before, they're one of the deepest teams in the league. They can go 11 deep. They got 11 guys. I feel like they can play in any series. They have really good young players. They have 3 solid rookies, 3 great rookies. They got 2 all-stars. They got a great coaching staff, elite coaching staff, with Eric Spoelstra. They got some playoff veterans, Jay Crowder, Andre Iguodala, Jimmy Butler, Goran the Dragon. Who else? There's somebody else. UD. Udonis hasn't played. He's not really be playing, but he's on the bench as a mentor. But he still brings that playoff mentality. And he brings that championship mentality, him and Iguodala. And these boys are in shape, man. And also, they led by a conditioning workhorse in Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. So, these Heat boys are in shape. Pat Riley don't play. And to me, how I look at this Miami Heat team is I feel like they're a team full of utility players. And when you have a team like that, it's nothing but scrappy and winning basketball to me. Nothing but scrappy and winning basketball that he played. They play discipline. Their only Achilles heel to me, in my opinion, is that they don't have an elite playmaker So when things do get tough in the fourth quarter and things do get a little tight, they don't have one person that can fully break down the defense. I mean, Jimmy can do it in certain stretches, but Jimmy isn't a guy who can get you an automatic bucket or automatic pick and roll or automatic easy shot. He's going to have to work for those shots. And most likely they might have to put Giannis on Jimmy because Jimmy is technically their best offensive player that can actually off the dribble. So it's going to be interesting because I think it's going to be a really, really, really big nip and tuck battle. And I think one of the X factors for the Heat, low key, I've been saying it a lot too. I'm going to go with my man Jay Crowder, a.k.a. Burner Boy. Burner Boy, man. I think he might be the third or fourth most important player on this Heat team, man. He really does a lot for this Heat team behind the scenes. He spaces the floor. He usually guards the opposing team's best perimeter offensive player. And he brings that toughness, that grit that you need. And he gets under people's skin, Jay Crowder. So I really like what Jay Crowder brings to the table. And what I'm also looking for in this series with the Heat and the Bucks, and I'm looking to see how Andre Iguodala fits in this series. Because to me, that can go many ways. He can either be very important in the series, or he can either become a shell of himself. So I'm looking at what type of production he gives off the bench, and most importantly, can he guard Giannis for a few crucial minutes, especially late in games? If they can run that lineup, the Heat can run that lineup of Bam at the 5, Iggy at the 4, Butler at the 3. Oh, excuse me. Crowder at the 4, Butler at the 3, Iggy at the 2. And then you could put anybody at the 1. You could put Goran Dragic at the 1. You could swap out and maybe put Iggy at the 1 and then put Duncan Robinson at the 2 so you can have that shooting. You can also put in Derrick Jones Jr. in there. So they have a lot of matchups and versatile defenders that they can throw at Giannis, and they have a lot of different looks that the Heat can throw at Giannis. So I've been saying it before since February, actually, that I think the Heat is going to make the finals. And I knew they were actually on a collision course to play the Bucks. I knew this was going to happen, and I think this is the Bucks' worst matchup. Not that I think the Bucks are bad. I just think this is the worst matchup for them in this postseason. And without home court advantage now, because the Bucks have a way better home court advantage over the Heat. Those Heat fans are really not the greatest. But the Bucks have a really good home court. So I think that really evens the playing field even more. And we're going to see a lot from Giannis, man. Listen, man, he already won Defensive Player of the Year this season. He won MVP last year, and he's up for MVP this year. So if he wins MVP and Defensive Player of the Year, and you lose in the second round, bro, it's not a good look, Giannis. It's not a good look. So we're going to see. It's going to be a very, 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 very interesting and very intriguing battle, man. But I got the Heat in that series in 7. I think that's going to go 7, man. So I got the Heat in 7 in that series, man. So let's get to another series, man. We got to talk about the Lakers and Blazers real quick, because that was a lot of controversy in that series. A lot of media news outlets were picking the Blazers in 6. My man Remo picked the Blazers in 6. He got a lot of heat for that, and he also, matter of fact, sent a voicemail in too. So let's get into that before we start talking about the series.
All right, you know who it is. It's Remo, a.k.a. Mellow Reem, a.k.a. Mr. Rich Threads, on the check-in with the Above the Rim family. This is the day after the Blazers have lost to the LA Lakers. Let me start off by saying, I don't want to be a bitter dude. Shout out to LeBron. Shout out to AD. Shout out to the Lakers. They came in there and did what they had to do, which was stomp on necks. You know what I mean? I came out with a bad prediction. Dame got hurt. Adjustments wasn't made. But let me tell y'all something. Y'all can say what y'all want. Washed who? My boy came out there with 9 players on the roster that night. Pull up a hell of a fight. Damn near earned himself another contract in my eyes. Whether it be for Portland or any other team that needs a vet that could put the ball in the bucket. So Melo made me proud last night. But something got to change out there in Portland. I don't know if it's going to be personnel. Dame and CJ, is that going to be a thing that continues? Will they bring back Melo? Will Rodney Hood be ready for next season? It's a lot of question marks up there, man. Will the coach be the coach? Because sometimes they say a coach is taking you as far as they could take you. It might be time for new regimes, a new voice, a new method. Terry Stott. Is he on the hot seat? I know I went out there on Twitter and everybody was on my ass. Oh, it's not the coaching, but the playoffs is about adjustments. I didn't see many adjustments in the last 3 years. We all know the game plan is pick and roll, long bomb, Dame. But when teams make the defensive adjustments, does Terry Stott? But on that note, I'm out. Peace.
Shout out to the boy Reeb for sending a voicemail. He coming in hot too again because he has a lot of interest in this Lakers and Blazers series. So we heard a lot of that from Reem. But so let's unpack this voicemail real quick. Well, first of all, shout out to Melo. Shout out to my man Melo. I'm very happy for Melo, who came in, one of my guys. He came in and shut these Twitter nerds up, talking about Wash 2. And he played well in this series, man. He gave you 15-5 in this series. Game 5 in the gentleman's sweep in the elimination game. He came out there with no Dame. And was the second scorer on that squad. We got to give it to Melo. He had over 20 in that game. Brown was guarding him. AD was guarding him. He was giving him buckets, man, playing solid defense, giving great energy. And he was just, to me, he's been great throughout this whole playoffs. He's not the most efficient player, but I'm not expecting him to be the most efficient player. I'm expecting Melo to be Melo. I'm expecting Melo to be a scorer, which he was. I'm expecting Melo to be a presence, which he was. I'm expecting Melo to be a clutch player, and he was all of that. So Melo, to me, has got an A+ in my blood. Are we looking for Melo to be a defensive stopper? No. So I don't know why people are expecting Melo to be one overnight. He was playing out of position. He was playing the 3. He's really a 4 now. But he was guarding Brown. And I think he did a solid job. I mean, he's not going to be able to stop him. We know that. But I think for what he was asked to do, I think he played phenomenal. And I think he played a lot of minutes too. He played over 35 minutes. Over 35 minutes, Melo. So come on. So I think he did exceptional. So Wash 2 no more. And as far as Terry Stotts goes, so that was interesting that Reem brought up making a coaching adjustment in Portland. I don't know, man. I might have to disagree with you here, Reem. But I see where you're coming from. I feel like maybe you're trying to say that maybe the Portland locker room maybe needs a new voice. Maybe they're kind of stuck in purgatory a little bit. But they have been in different spots the last 3 years. 1 year they got to the conference final. This year they got knocked out in the first round. The year prior to last year, 2 years ago, they got swept out of the first round. But this year had a lot to do with injuries, and it was a bad matchup with the Lakers. I didn't expect them to beat them anyway. But do I think Terry Stotts needs to be fired? I'm going to go no. I don't think so. I think I wouldn't be mad at them if they made a change, like maybe to a guy like Nate McMillan or something like that. If they feel like upgrading, I wouldn't be mad at them for that. But do I think it's necessary? No. Do I think there are more important things that they may need to do? Yes. I think they got a gem in Gary Trent Jr. I think they're going to be solid with him going forward. We need to see if Melo's going to come back. He said he wants to come back. But if Melo comes back, he's got to play the 4 exclusively for the Trailblazers. And you have to get a really, really strong wing defending 3. Trevor Ariza is solid, but he's not enough. Trevor Ariza is about 35, 36 years old. You need an elite wing defender. So you're going to have to give somebody up. Whiteside most likely has to go. And then you might have to look into maybe trading a Nurkic. Could be a possibility. Maybe trading a Zach Collins, somebody like that. Trading CJ, I think that's tough to do. I would only look into something like that if it's a blockbuster deal for another 2 guard or a 3. Like maybe a blockbuster deal for maybe like a Bradley Beal or maybe a DeMar DeRozan I would maybe look into it only because I may feel like DeMar DeRozan and Damian Lillard may fit better because DeRozan is a little bit bigger and Damian is a small guard as well. A small guard. So having maybe CJ and Damian here, two offensive-minded guards, sometimes is a problem for the Blazers. So do I think they need to move on from CJ? No. But do they think they maybe should explore it? I think it wouldn't hurt. I don't think it wouldn't hurt at all. So we'll see, man. But I don't think they need to make a coaching change right now. But we're definitely going to talk about the Blazers a little bit more in the next upcoming episodes, man, because they got some pieces to work with. They just needed a few minor tweaks. They need to add somebody, actually. So we're going to see what's going to happen with the Blazers in this offseason, man, because they can't be. They have to maximize Dame's prime right now because this is his prime and he's hot and he showed up and showed out in this bubble. Average over 30 in that bubble. That man is big time. So shout out to Dame, man, MVP of the bubble. Sucks that he got hurt. Lakers got a little clean, easy pass in that game 5, but it is what it is. And speaking of the Lakers, man, they played well in the series. Game 1, they didn't really play too well. I think they just got punched in the mouth a little bit early, but they came back down to earth. And they came back to playing what they're known to be playing like. And I had the Lakers in 6 the whole time, just because I just knew that they would be too much to overcome for the Blazers. The Blazers had size, but they also weren't built the same. Whiteside, Nurkic, Collins, they all have a negative foot speed. While all of the Lakers big men, the way I look at them, they're all very mobile. They're mobile big men that they have. Got JaVale McGee, got AD, you got Dwight. They all can run. They're all big boys that can really run the floor, can really get out and run. They can catch alleys. They can do it all. They can block shots, and they can cover up a lot of space on the floor. So I didn't think the Blazers could actually handle the Lakers at all. I knew they would win a game or two, but with Dame being out, we knew that was happening. I am a little disappointed, though, with Frank Vogel, that I didn't see a lot of J.R. and I didn't see a lot of Dion. I needed to see a little bit more of them because I wanted to evaluate the performance a little bit more. And I don't feel like we got a big enough sample size for me to truly evaluate what they bring to the table. So I'm really looking forward to that in this next series, depending on who they play. And it's going to be interesting. I think the Lakers are going to have a tough time with either OKC or the Rockets. I'm not going to lie. Both of them bring two different challenges for the Lakers. And they're both better than the Blazers. So I know a lot of people think Dame is Dame right now, which he is a great individual offensive player. But those two teams are better than the Blazers, the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Rockets. They both present different challenges. They're going to stretch the floor out the Rockets. We know we're going to put the Lakers in uncomfortable spaces with the bigs. And the Oklahoma City Thunder, they play a lot of more balanced game, and they really attack you on the perimeter with those 3 guards. And we know the Lakers, their issue is perimeter guard play. So we'll see, man, when we get into that series. Hopefully it's OKC in that series. We'll see when we get there, man. But also in the Eastern Conference is the Celtics and the Raptors, man. This is also a very, very interesting series as well. And I think it's a very good series. Me personally, full disclaimer, I got the Celtics winning this series. I'm gonna go Celtics in 7 because I feel like they have too much offensive firepower for the Toronto Raptors. I understand the Raptors are a really good defensive team. They were top 3 in the bubble, I believe. But I'm really high on the Celtics team, man. I can't front. Everyone who listens to this show, they know I'm a huge Jason Tatum fan, huge JT fan. I think he's already a top 15 player in this league. I think next year he's going to be a top 10 player in this league. He's elite. Boy is elite. Elite offensive player in the league, that is Jason Tatum. Now, will the Celtics miss Gordon Hayward in the series? Yeah, a little. But me personally, I don't think they really need him to get past the Raptors. Without Hayward, everyone else got to step up a little bit, and their closing lineups are more set in stone, in my opinion. When there's no Hayward in, there's no decision whether to put either Marcus Smart or Hayward to close the game. It's just Smart. And I think Smart is actually their best closing lineup is with Smart in there because they do Tatum, Brown, and Kemba are more offensive-minded players. Jaylen Brown can play some defense as well, but you need a stopper like Marcus Smart who does the little things on the floor. So I always like Smart closing for the Celtics. And without Hayward, their Celtics are still a versatile team, man. Multiple playmakers, as you saw in game 1 today. They spanked the Raptors today. I think they won by like 17 or something like that. And they played pretty well. Jason Tatum, I believe, had 21 and 9. Everyone chipped in. It was like a balanced effort for the Boston Celtics this afternoon. And they played pretty well against the Raptors. Now, the Raptors are a really good team. I had to apologize to them last episode. They have elite coaching. They are an elite defense, and they play hard for one another. But to me, this is about just X's and O's. For me, I think the Raptors are going to have some trouble finding good looks in those high pressure situations. And I think when that half court offense, when it boggles down and when that offense tightens up, who's going to get you that bucket? Now, I know everyone is going to say Siakam, but to me, I'm not really convinced with Siakam's offensive package just yet. I'm not convinced. I know a lot of people, he's been playing well. He's averaging over 20 this season, but his offensive package, I'm not really convinced it's there yet. It's solid. It's solid. But is it elite to me? No. I mean, I think you're going to have to be elite in order to beat this team, this Celtics team. And my man Van Vliet, he can get hot a few games. But I think putting Smart on him is going to be a huge factor for the Celtics. And I think they have that luxury to switch out Smart and put him on Van Vliet, in order to neutralize him. So I think that's going to be important for them. And the most important matchup in this series is going to be Cardiac Kemba versus Van Vliet. 100% Cardiac Kemba versus Van Vliet. I think both got to average at least 20 in this series for their team to win. Whichever one averaged at least 20, their team is going to win this series. I think whoever wins that matchup is going to win this series. Because both of their teams, actually, they're the X factor to it. When they score and when they're playing well, the team is very hard to beat. And whoever wins that matchup, I think is definitely going to win the series. And I think it's going to be the Celtics, in my opinion. So look up for a lot of those pull-up threes from Kemba, from JT, all series, man. Look out for a lot of those because I think this is going to be a series that goes 7 as well. And we'll see, man. So I got the Celtics in 7. So it's going to be a battle for sure. A battle for sure. Now, I made sure that I carved out some time this episode because I wanted to talk about a particular team. I want to talk about the 76ers as well. So they're a good team with a lot of issues, family. A lot of issues. My boy Akeem from Raw and Uncut Podcast, a big Philly fan, an Embiid apologist. He's been very vocal on, his disgust for Brett Brown. And he got his wish. Brett Brown, was fired a day after they got swept out of the playoffs. Shout out to Reem, actually, for calling that sweep them up. The Celtics sweeping up the 76ers. And now Brett Brown is fired. So I told my boy Akeem, he wanted to call in, send a voicemail, and to talk about them 76ers, man. And let's get into it. Let's hear it.
What's up? This Hakeem. All right, my 76ers, very disappointed this year. We have a lot of maturity that needs to happen. I'm so happy that Brett Brown is gone. I've been preaching this for 3 years. I think we need to switch up our roster a little bit. I do think we need to keep Embiid and Simmons, but I think we need to look to move someone like Tobias Harris. And also, well, I don't know. Let me take that back. I'll keep Tobias if we have to, but if we can move Al Horford, Tobias Harris, I think we're a better place. Also, Elton Brand is straight garbage. He is on notice. If he doesn't have a glorious offseason, he needs to go. Also, I think our next head coach should be someone with a strong personality that holds players accountable, that's going to get Embiid into some shape. Embiid is very immature. I think Ben is mature, but his game is limited. Great defensive player, needs to work on his offense. We definitely need to have someone like I definitely like the Nate McMillan hire from Indiana. I think that would be huge for us. I like Mark Jackson. I definitely like Jason Kidd or Ty Lue. One of those coaches need to be the Philadelphia 76ers coaches. And I think if they are, I think we'll be in a lot better place. Embiid is going to respect all of those guys I just named, and I think that's very important. But if we did have to move someone, one of the two, I think it would need to be Ben Simmons.
Very, very interesting voicemail. Shout out to Akeem for sending me that voicemail as well, brother. Have been having a lot of conversations about these Philadelphia 76ers, man. And it's crazy. So that was a lot of interesting things that he said in this voicemail, man. Now, to me, when I look at the Sixers, to me, they're facing two very important questions in the offseason. One, should they either trade Embiid or Simmons in the offseason? And two, who should they choose as their next coach? So let's start with the coaching. As far as coaching goes, to me, in my opinion, there's only three options that make sense for the Philadelphia 76ers. I think it's Mark Jackson, I think it's Ty Lue, and I think it's the newly fired Nate McMillan, as Akeem alluded to in the voicemail. And listen, I don't want to be biased here, man, but I gotta keep it a buck as I always do. I'm telling you right now, Philly needs a black, authoritative style head coach in there, and let me tell you why. It's easy. It's accountability. The same thing that Akeem alluded to. You've heard many people allude to that in regards to the Philadelphia 76ers. They have a bunch of immature guys that are all growing into men, the men that they need to be, and they need a leader there who they respect enough to stick to the game plan and not deviate from it. Someone who can call them out when they are giving no effort, when they're giving the lack of effort, when they don't come in there in shape, as he talked about with Joel Embiid, when they're not running the playbook appropriately. We saw at the end of this series, we saw Josh Richardson literally say that. He said, we have no accountability on this team. So that, to me, that comes from the coach. The coach has to demand that accountability from his stars and from his entire team. And the leader of the team also, as a player, needs to demand accountability for the rest of the players that follow suit. So that's something that they need, and they need a head coach like that. Me personally, I would like Mark Jackson over there. I think he's actually the right guy for them. But we'll see. I would really like Mark Jackson over there, and I think he deserves a shot, because there's been a lot of chatter about Mark Jackson, about if he can coach and if he can't coach. People are forgetting this man can still coach. They're talking about all his off-court stuff and whatever the case may be. I'm talking about just coaching, and I think that man deserves a shot, so give him a shot. The other thing, who should they trade? Me personally, I know Akeem said he would look into trading Ben Simmons. He's a big fan of Embiid, but I would go the opposite route. I would personally look into trading Embiid. I think for two reasons. I think you can get a phenomenal package back for him. I think you can get an all-star caliber type player, a rotational player, and maybe a pick if you throw in something else as well. To me, I think Ben Simmons is an elite defender. He's such an elite defender that I don't think he needs to be moved, and I think he can be utilized in another role, in that Lamar Odom type role. Not saying he can be in sixth man out off the bench, but in that role of being a secondary ball handler. Because if you looked at that triangle offense that the Lakers were running with Phil Jackson, with Kobe, Derek Fisher wasn't even the second ball handler. A lot of the times, Lamar Odom was the secondary ball handler along with Kobe. So I think you can use a Ben Simmons in that similar type of role, not necessarily the triangle offense, obviously, but as a secondary ball handler. But that would mean you would have to get an elite level point guard to be the primary ball handler. And that's where I think the trade for Embiid comes into play. I think you can supplement Embiid's production with a cheaper center, in my opinion. I would call up a few teams and see. I think a lot of people would love to trade Embiid. I wouldn't go shopping him like for trading for a can of Welch's grape, like how the Knicks gave up Porzingis, trading him for a cheese slice, $1 slice, and a can of Welch's grape. But I will see what's out there. I ain't gonna lie, because it's gonna be hard to move on for a lot of people. Orford has that terrible contract, Horford, and then Tobias Harris has that terrible ass contract. If you look at in 2019, Philly gave Tobias the 5th largest contract in NBA history. Elton Brand gave this man, J. Cole, over $200 million. And this series, he gave you a whopping 14 points and on 33% shooting against the against the Celtics, excuse me. That's ridiculous. Al Horford is also stealing money. I tell you right now, it's going to be crazy. So as far as the Embiid thing, I think you can supplement him, in my opinion, with a cheaper center. And think about this. I will call up a few teams. Maybe I'll throw out some teams that I can think off the top of the dome. What about the Nets? I will call up the Nets, see what's up with a 3-team deal. Maybe you can get a package deal with a Jared Allen and a Dinwiddie, maybe in a 3-team deal, because they wouldn't need Embiid over there, obviously, if they have DeAndre Jordan. I mean, maybe they want to upgrade from DeAndre Jordan. Who knows? But maybe you can get something happening with a 3-team deal. And then you get a Dinwiddie and maybe a center from somewhere else. And maybe a real good point guard that you can actually use. But it's just an idea. Let's think about, what about the Bulls? What about maybe in a Zach LaVine type of deal? Maybe Zach LaVine and a Wendell Carter Jr., maybe some type of deal like that. Or how about the Mavs? Would the Mavs even consider partnering with KP? Normally, I would say no. But if you maybe offer Embiid up to them, what does that look like? An Embiid KP kind of swap with a guy like Ben Simmons? Now you can keep him as that primary ball handler, and you have a center in KB who can shoot the ball. You still got Al Horford there who can shoot the ball. You still got Tobias who can shoot the ball. And now you got 4 shooters next to Ben Simmons. That's interesting. I don't know. I mean, that's a long shot. What about the Pacers? Oladipo, we know, was on the market. How about maybe a deal of a Oladipo and a Miles Turner? What about something like that? Oladipo and Miles Turner for an Embiid. What about maybe a Jaren Jackson Jr. in Memphis? I know the Grizzlies wouldn't be looking to trade him now, but if you offer them up an Embiid, we talking about Embiid you offering up now. All-star level caliber player, top 3 big men in the game. There's a lot of people who would actually think about giving up someone for somebody like him. What about the Pelicans? Ingram. Maybe an Ingram and Embiid swap. It could work for both teams if they don't want to pay him. You never know. And those are just some interesting trades, man. So let me know about any of those trades, which I think you should do. Akeem, let me know also who you would think of or who you would like as a package for somebody like Ben Simmons, because I think you could honestly get a better package for Embiid. But Elton Brand, man, he needs to take some accountability as well for organizing this bad roster, 100%. So we'll see, man. Definitely let me know what you guys think. What's going on with the Philadelphia 76ers. And the Jazz, too. The Jazz and Nuggets, they having a phenomenal series right now. Game 6 is about to start at the end of this. We're going to see if they could push that maybe to Game 7. Got to show Donovan Mitchell some love. He's cementing his star status right now. I know the Knicks, he's averaging over 30. I think he's leading the playoffs in scoring right now. Him and Jamal Murray are in a phenomenal duel. And I saw a lot of reports about the Knicks talking about they're trying to get Devin Mitchell. Come on, man. Boy, if you don't get... Listen, they better send a farm. They're talking about trying to trade for Donovan Mitchell without giving up RJ, the Maple Mama, which is out of control. Knicks, stop it. Stop it. Get off the mile. Get off it. So, the Mavs, really quick before I get on out of here. Man, shout out to Luka. I gotta give him some love, man. Luka wants to smoke. And we love to see it. He had a heck of a season, a heck of a series against the Clippers. They finally beat him today in Game 6. There was a lot of injuries on the Mavs. KP wasn't playing, so nobody expected Luka to really win this series. But he played phenomenal, man. Doc had the goons out all series. Marcus Morris was throwing cheap shots all series, stepping on his ankle. Come on, Morris. You know you damn well intentionally stepped on his ankle, but that's neither here nor there, whatever. But they put the hammer down on Luka, man. But Luka, I was very impressed. He took it. He took it like a man. And he was giving them that work. He was taking blow after blow from them, and he was still playing. He was getting in their face also as well. And I love the fight out of Luka, man. So what the Mavs need to do, though, they need to get Luka a goon over there. I said it on Twitter. A bunch of people were agreeing with me. The Mavs need to get a goon for Luka, and then they'll be good. A goon and then another scorer, and they'll be solid. They just need someone in there who could give an elbow or a headlock at any moment's notice. That's all they need. So yeah, man, this playoffs is still crazy. It's still wild. We're going to see who moves on. I'm sure when this episode comes out, it should be out tomorrow. We'll see if any more series are done. Hopefully OKC and the Rockets go 7. We'll see the Jazz and all that go 7. We'll see, man. So family, it's what it is. LePolitics. There's a lot of crazy shit going on in the league right now, man. It's a lot of crazy shit in the league, crazy shit in the world, man. But you know, family, I always appreciate y'all being here with me. I always appreciate y'all listening to the show. each and every episode. Shout out to y'all for always asking me when I don't have episodes. I appreciate y'all. A lot of things coming soon, man. Look out for that Slack channel as well. I'm making that now, so I'm about to hit up a few people. Send me your emails as well, and all that good stuff. So, family, episode 130. We out.